Hi, how's it going? My name is Daz, and this video is for the people who are into self-development stuff, who are reading self-help books and stuff, right? You guys finally made a decision and took responsibility of your life. You have taken action towards changing certain things about your overall behavior, your actions, and even the thought patterns. So, what happens is you read books like Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, or you attend a Tony Robbins seminar, or any such other beautiful seminars or conferences that are highly value giving, and you look at them, you get really inspired, and first thing you want to do is you want to apply all of the principles that you've learned from them. So you go home, you make principles for yourself. You're like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be truthful, I'm gonna start respecting people around me. And since you were not this guy before, you were just a normal, regular, socially inhibited guy before, or just were going with how everyone goes, and you thought that was the right way, so you were not at fault even back then. And now that you started making changes, the most resistance that you're gonna get is from your social environment. So now, first of all, you'll be resisted from the inside because it won't be very comfortable for you to be behaving in a way that you haven't behaved like before in your life. You have been a person A for 20 years or 30 years of your life, and you're now trying to be a person B, which is a completely different image. So what happens is you're here and you want to get there, and there's this transition phase in the middle. So when you're especially in that transition phase, you feel a lot of resistance coming from social environment. When, well, you would be in a situations for sure that people will tell you that there's something different with you, there is something going on which is weird about you, or you're not same as before, or maybe sometimes people will get pissed off, and they might even start behaving differently with you. And in some cases, depending upon how true you are to your vision or your bigger goal, you might also have to lose certain friends. But if you have formed principles that are based upon integrity, honesty, and all of the good values, and you know that you're going on the right path, then you need not to be afraid. You need not to be concerned about losing certain things. Great things come with a little bit of sacrifices. So I'm encouraging you to stick to your path, and I'm here to give you company on that path because I've been there, and that path could actually make you feel a little bit alone sometimes. But just hang it out, like just stick in there. Great things are coming to your way. It's like it's gonna be immense. You will see the changes as you pass this little transition phase. All right, so here are three fundamental principles that I can suggest, and I'm telling you, if you can base these three principles in your overall behavior, you'll see a massive difference in overall conduct in the social behavior. Okay, so what are these three principles? Number one is I know my path, and number two is I monitor my emotions and thoughts, and number three is I love all equally. So I know my path, I monitor my thoughts and emotions, and I love all equally. All right, first one, I know my path. What is it? Let's say you're in a school or college, you're attending certain kind of certification course or a degree or bachelor's or whatever that is, and your path is clear. You know in your head that I want to get good grades at the end of this, or want to complete this program in this given time. And a certain situation happens in your social environment, in a group class or an activity where you are in a situation where you want to react or respond, or maybe you're outside partying with your friends and it's a college crowd, and you come into a situation where you want to react or you want to behave a certain way. Maybe it's your important exam or something, and you are tempted to go to that party. So all of these circumstances relate to the social pressure and the environment, right? So the whole point here is whatever action or response that you're going to come up with has to be based upon this principle called I know my path. So ask yourself in that particular situation that, is this decision going to take you closer or away from your path? And then you'll have the correct answer. All right, that's the first principle. Principle number 2 is I monitor my thoughts and emotions. Let's talk about emotions first. What happens is human body is genetically designed, and we have a certain programs wired into us, and it goes back into the times when our ancestors were cavemen, basically. So what happens is we were surrounded by fear back then, a fear of being eaten by a predator or being attacked by another tribe for our resources. And so that's why whenever you get this surge of fear in your body and you get the heart racing, it's your genes telling you a story from 1,000 years ago. It's telling you to be alert, and it brings you to the fight or flight mode. And it can happen in many situations, especially the social situations, because that's what we are talking about. And if you could see your emotions boiling up, it could be either frustration, agitation, boredom, and it could be too much excitement. If you can just observe your body reacting in a certain way and act accordingly, then you would see that you are more centered in your approach. What I'm trying to say is that reaction means it comes naturally because that's something that you've been practicing over and over again. You've been in a habit of behaving a certain behavior because you have learned it in your past to just have a reflex response to certain things. So in the same way, if someone yells at you, you yell back because that's your learned response, right? So in this principle, what you do is before yelling back, you're gonna go back to this principle and think about it for a second. Like, I monitor my thoughts and emotions. So my emotions are telling me to yell or attack or fight or do whatever that is. And again, look at it and then take a decision of what to do. Just by being aware of your emotion will make a huge difference. Okay? And what about thoughts? All right, so what happens is your emotions are generated by bodily responses, which I mentioned, just by a sight of something dangerous, or if you're sensing any threat, your body responds, right? And the other one is your thought responses. Your thought responses are more prevalent in today's environment because we do not have a lot of threats like we used to have back in those caveman days, because there are no tigers and lions eating us, or maybe if you're living in the US, then you might be shot by some insane guy. That's a different story. But my point is to be aware what you're thinking, because your thoughts are gonna generate a particular emotion. Let's say you have a negative thought. What it's gonna do is it's gonna give you a negative surge of emotion, and that in turn is gonna activate more thoughts that are related to more negative energy, and the vicious circle goes on and on and on. And if you have lost control of yourself, you'll find yourself to be anxious, paranoid, and completely drawn into this vicious circle of compulsive thinking, and that can lead to things like even suicide, man. Like, that is an emotional disease, and the only way we can cure that is just by being aware. If you can just be aware, and it's done by building a practice of checking your thoughts and emotions before you respond. Take a deep breath, and before acting, ask yourself that, did I monitor my thoughts? Did I monitor my action? And you'll see a huge difference. Okay, the last one is love all equally. Love all equal. What kind of love I'm talking about here? This is not that Roman candle, Hollywood love. That's not what I'm talking about. This love is the universal love. This love is the love that you have for your family, love that you have for your pets, or a connection that you share with living beings around you. It's that kind of love. Now, when I say love all equally, it means you do not have any favorites in any social environment. Okay, you respond to everyone in a very loving manner, and there's a lot of forgiveness in your attitude. It's not an attachment love. It's coming from the place of letting go, and accepting other people for their behavior and their actions. What happens is, when you smile at people with that love in your initial interactions or even subsequent interactions, they can catch that vibe. They will see that this person is genuinely nice, and they'll be more open to giving you positive responses, and you'll be surprised to see the difference in other people's reactions to your inner shift. Okay, and sometimes what would happen is your love might be taken in a romantic love way by a lot of opposite gender people, and it's a very common mistake that people make, because they're unable to differentiate between where you're coming from in particular situation, right? So don't get disheartened when that happens. Know that you can always forgive them. Know that you were trying to give them love from a very deeper place, not from a place of romantic love, and keep consistent with that, and people around you will eventually notice the change. Okay, so these were the 3 principles on which you can base your inner behavior, and there is an application to these behaviors. There's an application that I designed. I designed 4 steps, like step by step, 4 steps that are gonna massively increase your social skills. And check out this video. It's called Difficult People Made Easy. Difficult People Made Easy. And it's 4 steps that I'm gonna give you to deal with especially those difficult people, because believe it or not, there are people who have gone into that state of mind, in a very negative state of mind, that whenever you have interaction with them, it always goes down. And there is a proper and a nice way and a kind way to dealing with those people, and these people are sometimes unavoidable, because they could be your customers, or they could be your boss sometimes as well, right? So check out these 4 steps, and I am 100% sure that you will receive massive value out of it, and give it a try applying these things and see for yourself. It would be immense. Thank you.